Brian Nathan wins Florida's District 14, flipping a seat Trump carried by 7 points. Trump even voted by Florida, a state that elected Obama twice, is showing subtle shifts back to blue.
2020 was an aberration, partly pandemic, partly Trump missteps.
Local dynamics matter as much as national headlines. Trump is forum shopping key cases to friendly judges like Aileen Cannon.
Cannon dismissed the Mar-a-Lago indictment, citing improv special prosecutor appointment.
It's like a private DOJ, cases placed in favorable venues.
From assassination attempts to Mar-a-Lago, she's central to his defense.
Cannon isn't the only Sardis key cases land before her. Grand juries hundreds of miles away, strategic placement.
Senate Intel Committee and Durham confirmed Russian interference, no prosecutions. But
Trump campaign benefited drafting behind the interference. Not collusion, but clear exploitation. Most crimes have a 5-year statute. We're past that for 2016 interference.
Serious claims can extend if renewed later.
Acts in 2021-2022 can legally revive investigations.
A rare intervention against DOJ overreach.
4PS contrast grand juries issuing politically charged subpoenas. Jeff Bossert, BCI's federal judge, quashes the subpoena against Fed Chair Jay Powell. No evidence.
On a podcast tied to a Christian nationalist church linked to Secretary of Defense advisors.
A Texas Senate candidate, James Tallarico, became the target of a public death prayer. Clips spread widely, demanding accountability. Organizers claimed it wasn't literal death, it was spiritual crucifixion.
Saul DePaul analogy, a semantic dodge.
Still a public prayer against a political opponent.
The prayer targeted those promoting child abuse, transgender ideology,
broader moral framing, societal repentance. The optics are shocking on public media.
We must be prepared. Trump's post on Truth Social focused on 6 genders, vegan food, masks.
Minor critique compared to a death prayer. The sitting president's response was almost trivial.
Republicans spent 40 years constructing Christian brand politics. Tallarico turned it back on them. Christ is the immigrant senior protester.
Using their own messaging as a campaign tool.
He's threatening a moral infrastructure decades in the making.
This is why the attack wasn't personal, it's systemic. They have no counter-argument for his framing.
Faith, politics, and power intersect in ways voters rarely see.
Tallarico challenges the weaponized faith politically. It's about values and tactics, not personalities.
District 14 and 87 flips show how law and elections intersect. Mail-in ballots, legal interpretations, Trump's influence, it all matters.
Every procedure affects outcome, even in red districts.
Cases placed in Fort Pierce for strategic judicial outcomes.
Grand juries, subpoenas, and venue manipulation, systemic advantage. It's chess, not coincidence.
Cases placed in Fort Pierce for strategic judicial outcomes. Grand juries, subpoenas, and venue manipulation.
Systemic advantage. It's chess, not coincidence.
Democrats mostly step back from faith, leaving lanes open.
Tallarico's approach is bold, flipping attack into campaign messaging. Christian nationalist wing moved in, now challenged directly.
Flip districts may signal broader shifts in future elections.
Trump's influence is contested locally and nationally. Small margins, legal interpretations, mail-in ballots, all pivotal. Statute of limitations, conspiracy extension.
Legal technicalities extend investigation reach.
Timeline complexity is essential for follow-up stories.
DC judge quashed subpoena. Judicial checks vary widely across districts.
Procedural fairness is inconsistent.
Prayers against political opponents are public and viral.
Podcasts involve Secretary of Defense advisor's spiritual guidance. Message framing becomes political weapon.
Prayers against political opponents are public and viral.
Podcasts involve Secretary of Defense advisor's spiritual guidance. Message framing becomes political weapon.
Targeting child abuse, transgender issues, moral repentance. Public extends death versus spiritual crucifixion.
Intentional ambiguity amplifies shock value.
Trump focuses on minor traits, 6 genders, vegan food.
Less impactful than the moral attack of a death prayer. Shows contrast between political rhetoric and actual threat.
Tallarico takes the moral majority messaging and flips it politically.
Christ
is the senior protester literal policy framing.
Turning weaponized faith into campaign strategy.
Threat to decades of moral messaging.
They fear ideological disruption, not personal attack. No counter-argument for his narrative.
GOP anticipating voter backlash.
Multiple leaders retiring indicates political caution, of avoiding contests instead of facing challenges.
Understanding moral infrastructure is key.
Focus remains on systemic values over individual players. It's about tactics, messaging, and long-term impact.
Ballot interpretation, judicial decisions, and mail-in dynamics.
Small procedural changes can swing elections. District flips show how legal strategy intersects with elections.
Grand jury subpoenas politically sensitive. Strategic placement in Fort Pierce impacts outcomes.
Every mile counts in judicial influence.
Dismissals reveal venue influence.
Procedural manipulation is recurring. Even minor rulings shift larger legal landscape.
Talarico uses their own faith messaging as a campaign tool. Left a lane open, now challenged by moral framing.
Direct engagement flips narrative.
Exactly, we must counter their moral framing.
Elections show subtle shifts in traditionally red areas.
Procedures, mail-in ballots, and local dynamics are pivotal.
Outcome hinges on multiple factors beyond raw vote counts.
Eileen Cannon's decisions central to Trump cases. Judicial authority shapes grand jury processes.
Strategic placement is systemic advantage.
Conspiracy statutes and acts from 2016-2022
Create
rare
Point
timelines.
is for understanding investigation reach. Legal nuance drives political reality.
Consistency across the judiciary is uneven. A DC judge quashed subpoena, Fort Pierce grand juries contrast sharply.
Procedural fairness varies by venue.
Ultimately, law, faith, and politics intersect subtly yet.
Talarico challenges decades of weaponized mass messaging. Understanding systemic tactics is key to following the story. If this story meant something to you, don't let it fade with the flames.
Pass it on.
And if you want more of these conversations, stay with us.